Hello, everyone. It's Dimitri, and Liz will join us later. So we prepared the next Tableau user group for you, and it's the joint event now. It's Victoria and Vancouver since it's online, so it's very comfortable for us. And we also have the opportunity to bring speakers from overseas, and we basically can bring anyone if we can reach. So today we'll have two speakers. The first speaker, you might know him, is JC. He works in Vancouver Tableau office. He will talk about some recent news with Tableau, and maybe we'll share the vision and how the COVID impact the Tableau and some other cool things. And then we move to the next speaker right from Moscow, Russia, Roman. So he has really cool experience with data visualization, and he worked in one of the biggest Russian company. So it's like, if I'm right, it's similar to Google, but in Russia. So, and he is leading data visualization team in taxi service. So he will tell more about his work and what he's doing. And basically, he will share with us an agile framework, and will show how to create effective dashboards using Tableau. And he will cover the dashboard canvas methodology. So we'll start from JC. I will pass word to JC, and then the Roman.
Thank you, Dimitri. And let me just do a quick sound check with you, make sure we're still good.
Yeah, all good.
Perfect.
I turn off my camera.
Amazing. Well, hey, everyone. My name is JC Gallo. I'm your account manager based out of Vancouver, BC. And for today's session on my part, I just wanted to give everyone a quick update on what's going on with Tableau, what has Tableau been up to, and then a little bit of our vision looking forward. And I do have one awesome announcement to make. I'll do that towards the end, but I think it's going to be grateful and impactful for all of the participants here. So again, JC Gallo, based out of Vancouver, been with Tableau for about 4 years. I have had the pleasure to work with some of the attendees here, but for the ones that don't know me, I will share my contact details. I might not be your direct account manager, but I'll be happy to point you to the right person in case you guys have any follow-up questions at the end. So with that, what is Tableau, or what have been up to? A lot. However, our mission remains the same. Our goal is to continue to help people see and understand the data, their data. With all the unprecedented public health crisis that we're currently facing, we have been busier than ever, whether that's supporting our clients, supporting government agencies, or the public itself. Again, we're very committed to helping all of our communities thrive through the use of data. And I think now more than ever with this precedent, it has been quite useful. So what usually happens is in time of crisis, we turn to data. I'm showing this quick viz just to show you that everything around us since COVID started and hit us, everything we see around us is data. We're consuming data one way or another. Again, this is our forefront, and this is something that we have been focusing on. So you might, I know that most of you guys are using Tableau, so you might have seen a lot of Tableau outside your workspace. And again, there's a lot of it that goes behind all that work, a lot of resources that Tableau is putting together on helping the public stay informed. And I'll go over some of those resources here at the end. So how are we helping our clients today? And then this is pretty much what most of our account managers here at Tableau are doing. We're hosting conversations with our clients to understand ways in we can help them stabilize their business, right? So understand the impact that their business is going through COVID. So again, having questions about their data, understanding where their data is coming from, and then using our industry expertise and our knowledge that we have internally of the different industries to have conversations with our clients about, okay, here's how you can stabilize your company. Here's what we're seeing other clients do within your industry. After that, what we're doing is, again, spending time with our clients to talk about their reopening strategy, helping them, blend data from different data sources to reopen their workplace safely, whether that's for their internal employees or for their external customers. These are conversations that we're having. If you haven't spoken to your account manager yet, I recommend having these conversations with them, because there's a lot of insight that we can bring to the table. They don't have to be business conversations. I mean, again, we're here to support you guys and continue to work with you as we get through this pandemic. And at the end, a lot of it is based on data. And then there's a lot of organizations that are thriving. So we're also having conversations with them, helping them understand how they can continue to grow their business. Unfortunately, it's a win-loss situation for them. I know that a lot of the public is going through some hard times, but these are essential businesses that need to continue to operate, and we're there to support them as well, right? So if your business is being impacted, or your organization is seeing an influx of business because of everything that's going on, again, I suggest having the conversations with your account managers or any partner that you work with, to put a strategy in place to continue to drive towards that growth, right? I mentioned that I was gonna give you guys some of the resources that we have deployed. So if you guys go to our website, tableau.com, there's a tab for a data hub. This is something that a lot of our clients are leveraging right now. And it's basically a lot of public data that you can also bring in internally to your company and blend in to understand the impact of COVID within your business. And then again, plan for your reopening, plan for your next strategic move. So I suggest, if you haven't looked at it, I suggest going to our data hub and visiting all of the resources that we have there. Some of our work or the things that we have been doing, for instance, partner with the city of Seattle to use Tableau to help them combine data, their city data with the Department of Health data to help citizens locate emergency services. And then this information gets refreshed daily. So this is just an example of how entities or organizations are blending data from different data sources to provide public help. Again, the next use case, and we can see it with the city of New York, how it was one of or New York, which was one of the states with the higher number of COVID cases. Again, through the understanding of the pandemic, understanding the hot zones, using a heat map to pinpoint areas where cases were rising above the curve, they were able to provide better medical treatment or medical equipment to sustain the pandemic. And we have seen it with that state where their numbers at the beginning were higher than any other state. And if you go back now and look at their data, we can see how how the reduction of cases has been lowering. And a lot of it's because of what they have been doing with Tableau to pinpoint those high areas of, what do you call it? Contagious. Next, we have had, we've seen it in the media, a lot of TV channels are using Tableau to inform the public on what's going on with Corona and pinpointing all the hotspots. But again, just another example of what Tableau has been up to, what our clients have been up to. Happy to answer any questions at the end in regards to these use cases, or if you guys are looking for more use cases that align to your industry, I'm also happy to provide those. So we have shifted, I'm sure everybody has seen the news, Tableau is now part of the Salesforce family. So we have shifted our focus to a 360 analytics and then helping clients lead through change with data. What this means is with Tableau, you can get faster insight of your changing environment. You can make better decisions on the data that you trust. And then again, you can leverage a global community of experts, a global community of partners, and then our industry experts to help you guide you through the process of stabilizing, reopening, and growing. Also, what Tableau is being able to allow customers to do is explore new business directions with agility, right? So again, understanding what's going on and then kind of planning for the future, and reach the perspective of different business users or different users or clients within the organization, understand where the company is going, understand what the impact is, understand the trends, so they can make better informed decisions. And then last, as part of the Salesforce family, we have some seamless integration with a lot of Salesforce applications. A lot of our conversations have been around using AI and machine learning and how do we integrate with the robust engine that Salesforce has for machine learning and how do we bring that to our clients. So a lot of our conversations have been around Tableau integration with Salesforce, being able to tap into Salesforce data with our Tableau connectors or Salesforce connectors, and then bring that Salesforce data into Tableau for analysis. And then if you're looking at having a little bit more of predictable analytics, then we're also recommending our clients to look at Einstein Analytics, where you can have more actionable analytics, more predictive analytics that are going to help you determine your next best action with your clients. So what's new with Tableau? There's a couple of recent releases, 2020.2, 2020.3. These are our two latest releases in the past 6 months. There's a couple of features there that I wanted to highlight. One of them being the ability to go outside your Tableau ecosystem now and being able to write your queries, being able to write any data preparation, any data blending back to a database. So far, we are only able to write back to 7 data sources or databases, some of them being Microsoft SQL, Postgres, MySQL, Teradata, Snowflake, and Amazon Redshift. But this is just a beginning. This is an eye-opener to let you or let our users know that we are now exploring the entire data analytics platform and then going outside our comfort zone, which was Tableau. We're basically breaking out of our ecosystem by being able to write back to databases. And there's going to be a lot more databases to come in the near future. But these are the ones that were most requested. These are the ones that most of our clients are using and where we see that we will make the biggest impact with this new feature. There's another really good one that was released in 2020, which is our Salesforce connector in Prep Builder. So this allows you to bring all of your CRM data, all of your Salesforce data into Tableau for deeper analytics, right? This is something that a lot of our clients were striving for or asking for. It was released about 4 months ago. Again, talks about our integration with Tableau and Salesforce. Outside our Salesforce ecosystem, we have also released an SAP certified connector, and then made enhancements to a lot of our external data source connectors. But my advice here is visit our landing page for Tableau What's New, and you'll be able to see all the different features within each release. There's an average number of features being released, and that number is in between 20 to 30 features that get released in every single version or upgrade version that we publish. And then last, I mentioned that I had an announcement for everyone, which I think it's really, really cool. Our Tableau conference is a go, so we have the green line to host our Tableau conference. Of course, it's going to be a virtual conference, but the really good thing about this is that it's going to be a free event. So a lot of our clients that weren't able to attend because budgetary issues or any other sort of complication are now able to attend. This is a really good event to understand our vision, understand our strategy, align your strategy or align your analytics practice with what Tableau recommends to be the industry best or the industry standard, and then help you plan for the future. If you're looking to gain any type of executive sponsorship, I also recommend looking at the sessions, looking at the agenda, connecting with your account manager, and then asking, hey, if you were to send this to my executive team, what sessions do you think will be recommended for them? Because in every conference, we also have an executive path. And the goal of that executive path is data literacy. So basically, educate stakeholders and executives on the importance of data and where data can take your entity or where data can take your company. So I recommend you leverage that. Registration starts September 1st. So starting next week, be on the lookout for some invitations from our marketing team. My recommendation is that try to make this a community event. So if you're planning on attending, maybe invite some of your colleagues and then share the links to the different sessions so you can participate as a team and then have time to debrief either as a team or have time to debrief with your account manager. But with that, that's all I had. I think we do have some time for questions, Dimitri, or should we do those at the end? You let me know, but that's pretty much what I had. So back over to you.
Yeah, I think let's move questions to the end. Also, you can publish questions to the chat and we will review them and answer while we're going. So now we pass word towards Roman. So Roman, you can turn on, you can introduce yourself, share the screen, and everyone enjoy the presentation.
Yep. How's the sound?
Yeah, it's good.
Good, nice. So, hello everyone. Dmitry, thanks for having me today, and thank you all for coming. Really glad to be here today. And today I'm going to talk about Dashboard Canvas. It's a methodology of creating dashboards that I invented. And I'd like to share some experience on it and to show some cases. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm really keen on data visualization and I really love it. And in order to show you that I really like to do data visualization, here is the data visualization on my time spent in Tableau. I've been tracking my time for a couple of years, and here we have each dot is a day, and the size of the dot is the amount of time I spent in Tableau, and the color is just representing the amount is larger than a half of a working day or it is not. So I just wanted to show you that I using the Tableau quite a lot. I do create a lot of dashboards. And I really love data visualization, user experience, and some graphical design stuff. So I'm a bit about more of design than technical side. But anyway, today we are going to talk about design process of the dashboards, and also we'll discuss some technical stuff in the end. Nowadays, I'm head of data visualization team for Yandex Taxi. It's a joint venture between Uber and Yandex. Yandex is a Russian company, and Yandex Taxi is a part of its business. We are, as far as I know, we are largest profitable ride-handling company. We operate mostly in Russia and about 16 countries in Europe and Asia. So my team is in charge of internal consultancy. We provide best practices on data visualization, on Tableau, and also create the most important dashboards in our company. So it's like the dashboards that are going to be used with the whole company. Also, I'm hosting a blog. It's called Reveal the Data. I got this line from Edward Tufte books, and I really think that it's quite important to reveal the data and to show the data from from Excel spreadsheets to cool visualizations. Unfortunately, it's mostly in Russian, so I don't know if you find it really helpful for you, but if this event is going to be interesting for you, maybe I'll prepare some articles in English as well. So that's it about me. Let's move to agenda and to discuss what we're going to discuss today. So, as I said before, I'm going to introduce you Dashboard Canvas. It's a visual algorithm for creating dashboards, and we are going to discuss each step of this algorithm. And during this introduction of each step, we are going to see a case of creating sales dashboards for a small company. So it's going to be some part of theory and a real business case. I believe it's going to take about 40, maybe 50 minutes. And at the end, we'll also have about 20 to 30 minutes on Tableau life hacks. I'm going to show you some minor stuff on layout design, on some things that maybe not so technical in terms of calculations and so on, but I'm going to show you some, I think, cool stuff, how to create good layouts in Tableau and how to use some techniques to do it the right way. So, and also we have Q&A session, so I'll be glad to answer your questions. Yes, I forgot to say, I shall apologize for my English. I'm not a native speaker and I haven't practiced for a while. So if I make some mistake on stuck sometimes, I apologize for that. But if you don't have any questions right now, let's move on and discuss the algorithm itself. So why do we need it at all? Why do we need the algorithm in place? I believe that the dashboards sometimes are underestimated as a product, and dashboards are really quite complex products, and they consist of some user experience, graphical design, some database knowledge, and so on. So in order to create a good, really good dashboard, you shall be quite skillful in really different areas. As I said, maybe it's storytelling, graphical design, user experience design, database, statistics. Also, you need to know some stuff about not just the tool you're using. For example, Tableau, you should be a master in it in order to create a good dashboard. So, and as I said, as you need a lot of skills, sometimes you are lost in them, and some people are more concentrated on design part of the dashboard, some people are concentrated more on the technical side of the dashboard, and so on. In order to eliminate the problem, eliminate that a lot of skills are involved, I think that a good structured way should be in place, and it really helps you to just to use it and to create a good dashboard. Then you're doing it step by step, and you consider all of the parts, all of the skills you need to combine in order to achieve a good result. So there are some algorithms out there, and I decided to create my own just because it was needed by my company. I think that the stuff I created is really suit our needs, and also I believe that it's really fruitful. I mean, it's really quite deep, and some people think that it's quite complex, but I think that my idea was to create a visual algorithm that would help people to place all information they need on the one place and to see it. The algorithm we are going to discuss can work only with two limitations. First of all, we need an eternal client or someone who is going to be our eternal customer, just because we need to get information from them, they need to get their needs and to get their expectations, what they are going to use the dashboard for, and so on. And I believe that this algorithm is applied only for quite big dashboards. In big, I mean that they should be used for a long time. So if you are creating some, I don't know, ad hoc analysis, you're providing ad hoc analysis, you shouldn't use it just because it's would be overwhelming and it's quite long one. So I believe that this algorithm should be applied for the dashboards that are going to be used for long terms. I don't know, maybe 3 months, half of a year, and so on. So there are two limitations, and I will say that it's the most common situation. But I also like to mention that if you don't have an internal customer, for example, you're creating a dashboard for just your company as a whole, and it's going to be used by a lot of users, and no one is going to be in charge, or no one is going to be the owner of this dashboard, then I suggest to use almost the same algorithm, but to provide more study and to provide customer journey map in the beginning. We are not going to discuss it today, but I think that you can apply almost the same approach, but you shall spend more time on investigation your user needs in the beginning, but nevertheless, the rest part is the same. And why I decided to create this dashboard? Just because this dashboard canvas, just because we have a lot of analysts in our company. Our company is about 2,000 people in number of our employees, and almost 10% of it, I don't know, 130 employees has a desktop license, so they can create dashboards and they can publish them to the service. Almost half of the company are using our server is the source of information, the source of truth and decision-making points. So we have a lot of analysts, and they're good guys and girls, but I mean they are more concentrated on analysis side, but not on creating dashboards and Tableau. So it's not the professional interest in that. And that's why we help them to create good dashboards in several ways. One of them, we created style guide and template for our analysts. And the second one, we're providing training on Tableau and data visualization best practices. And the third part, I created this dashboard canvas in order to help them to conduct projects on dashboard creations. So my goal was to help my company to create good dashboards. That's why I decided to do this algorithm. Let's move to it. And here we have a canvas. I was inspired with business model canvas. I don't know if you've heard about such concept. It's a canvas that was created to design business processes and design new businesses in a lean startup environment and so on. And I really like all this stuff, and I think it's really visual, and it's really useful when you're creating a new, I don't know, a new branch of business or a new business. And I decided that this concept could also work for dashboards. So this canvas is divided into 9 parts, and we are going to go through all of them. But let's briefly look through all of them. So we have the team is going, this shall place who is going to be in charge of this dashboard and who is going to create him. We have goal understanding. It's about our expectations of this dashboard and why do we need it. Also, we have a part of users who is going to use it. We have a part of questions and decisions. It's a particular points and questions that should be answered with the dashboard. It's a context of use. Whenever we're going to use it on a mobile device, on a desktop device, how often we're going to use it, and so on. Also, we have a part, the sixth block is about data. What data do we have, how it's structured, and so on. The seventh part is about our visuals. How do we answer each question with some specific charts or graphs or tables and so on? What visuals do we use? The next part is how do we combine these visuals and to create it in some layout on dashboard. And the last but not the least is how do we test and support our dashboard. On the one hand, I understand that all of these parts are not new for you, and there is nothing, I don't know, it's not a magic pill, it's not something you wouldn't think about during the process of creation of the dashboard. But I think that it's really important to write down all your ideas and all your things you need to consider during the dashboard design process, because it's like, for me, it's like a morning exercise. You know, everybody knows that in order to be healthy and to live long life, you just should make morning exercise. I don't know, for 10, 15 minutes. It's not very complex. It's really easy. Everybody understands that they should do so, but nevertheless, it's really hard to do so, and it's really hard. So my idea that this canvas also is quite obvious things you should consider during the dashboard design. But if you do write them down, if you really go step by step using this canvas, you will really increase your chance to get a cool product in the end, and that the dashboard will meet the expectations and needs of your internal customers. So I often asked why it is located so, why is this first part is here, the second here, it's not logical, and so on. The point is that the left side is more about our engineering team. It's about our team who creates the dashboard itself, and the right part is more about our users. It's about who is going to use it, how it's going to be used, and so on. So it's divided not by the step, the number of the step, but the site. Is it more technical, or is it more about our final users? And if you don't like such structure, maybe it kind of looks weird for you, you can just use the numbered list of that, and I don't know, maybe use a Google Doc or something like Word document, and just to go through all of this, the same steps, and write down each step. It doesn't matter really, just because you are going to reach the same steps, and that's the most important part. But I really like this view just because it structures your thoughts in a way of creating, in a way of turning your data into real product for your users. So I believe it's maybe a lot of philosophical, but it's some kind of idea that we provide some service to our final users. And also I like that it's really quite comprehensive, and you can really place it on one slide, and it's going to be readable, it's going to be understandable by other people. So it's one sheet answer for all of the questions you need for creating dashboard. So let's move on and to look through all of the steps, and to discuss how it affects your design decision. Just because I'd like to show you that everything you put down in these steps, it really affects the design you're going to make for your dashboard. And today we are going to discuss it on a case on a sales department. I'm going to show you the final result that was designed with this algorithm, and just to briefly introduce you to the goal and to the case. So we are going discuss it on the example of a sales department for a small company. It's a company that sells some consultancy and services and some development of IT products and so on. So they have a sales department. It's not a big one in terms of number of employees. There are, I don't know, 4 to 5 employees, and they need a dashboard on sales process for their department. So that's, briefly speaking, that's the idea of this case. So let's move on to our dashboard canvas and just to discuss each part, and I'll show you how it was filled in for each part and how it affected the design, the result we have. So let's start with the team. And I think it's quite important part of the process just to place down who is going to be in charge for what, who is going to be, I don't know, BI developer, who is going to prepare data, and so on. And sometimes it seems also quite obvious and silly to put the names here, but in my experience, sometimes you are really people really think that you are going to be, I don't know, for example, if you are an analyst, you are going to be in charge of project management, on data preparation, so on. So it's really good idea to discuss with the team who is going to be needed on board and who is going to do what. And the point is that during the creation of the dashboard, you maybe don't have a lot of people, but you have a lot of roles, just because for data preparation, you have some roles, for maybe creating visuals, you have some roles, and so on. So as I said, there are a lot of roles that could be involved in the dashboard creation process, but anyway, you should place them, you should allocate who is going to do what. And essential part of this step is to create a common working space. And nowadays, I believe everybody works online in some chats, bots, Kanban boards, or something like that, or simply create a Google document. I believe that's a good idea to create some common space that is used to for the process. So also a good idea to, I don't know if it's some common, it's a chat or in Slack or some Google Doc, just to place it, the link here in this part. When we have our team in place, we will move to the next step, and it's called goal understanding. What is it all about? Goal understanding is about to describe the general expectations and the general situation in the department or the unit you are going to create dashboards for. The idea that this part helps you to be on the same page with your internal customer. And I don't know how to put it more strongly, but I mean, I really think that this part is crucial, just because in my practice, a lot of projects, a lot of good dashboards was ruined not on the side of data, on the side of Tableau, I don't know, on the side of some design process, but they were ruined in the very beginning, just because the developer was creating not the thing that the customer expected to see. And this part really helps you to describe the goal and to show it to your internal customer and to understand that you have a common understanding and you're on the same page. For example, for our dashboard, our case that we're discussing, it would be as it put it here. So the goal understanding usually divided into some parts, and the first part is just a general description how the unit works, I don't know what we are doing, and so on. And here we have the brief description that our company provides some services, and we have a sales process. This sales process divided into steps, into 6 steps, and then we place the motivation. What do we need? What do we want to achieve with this dashboard? So here we have 4 goals, and these goals really crucial in terms of design, just because they will influence your design decisions on the further steps. So for this particular dashboard, the goal was as the following. The first one was to have a helicopter view on sales, and it means to understand what is the plan versus fact of sales, what is the volume of sales we have, and what steps in our sales funnel are weak, where is conversion bad, and so on. The next goal of this dashboard was to understand how managers work and to compare them from each other, and what differs them in the style of sales. Just because I don't know if you ever worked with the salespersons, they really can I don't know, sales really differently, and especially in B2B businesses, there are a lot of styles of selling. So I mean, that should be shown with our dashboard, how they differ, what they do the same, and who performs better. The third goal of this dashboard was to understand client profile and to create repeat customers. So we shall understand not only the amount of upcoming deals, but also how are they allocated for our clients, who is our who repeats the purchases, and what is the average checks, and so on. And the last goal was how to find approaches and ways to achieve the plan. And the idea that if you see that you're not going to reach the plan, you shall make some decisions how you're going to achieve it. And that was the goal of this dashboard. So this is part of understanding about the goals. The last part of the goal understanding is usually about when we do want to have the dashboard in place, and why do we need it at that time. So as I said, I think that's a really crucial part. It shouldn't be really in depth. It shouldn't be complex. It should be really brief description what you're going to do, why you're going to do so, and to show it to your internal customer in order to understand that you're on the same page. And in some companies, I see that analysts and BI developer, they don't want to take responsibilities for this part, just because, I don't know, some business users come to them and say, oh, I need a pie chart on sales, I need a table on regions, and so on. And they just create what they were told. So I think that is it's a weak position, and it's a good professional always trying to understand the goal of his customer and try to find out why it is so, and try dig in and understand why it is needed at all. So, and that's the job of the professional BI engineer, BI developer, and so on, to find out what do the customer need. So when we understand the general goal understanding, we shall define our users, who are going to use the dashboard. And it's also quite a simple structure. For example, here we have just the title of the person and how is going to use the dashboard, what are the cases for them, and so on. So if you have a lot of users, I don't know, maybe it's 20, 30, 100 users of your dashboard, you just divide them by titles and their positions. And if you have, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3 users, you just really can write down their name and write down what each of them are going to use the dashboard for. So let's look at our case. And for example, the main user of these dashboards, there are 2 roles. The first one is the head of sales department. He or she is going to use the dashboard on a daily basis, and he or she needs to get the overall picture, the helicopter view, as they say, but also he or she has some specific goals. So the goal is to able to analyze channels in different types of products. Just because as a head of sales, he or she should understand which channels works better, which products works better, and so on. And also at operational side, he or she should understand which managers are working good or bad, and who is needed attention, and what deals and managers to be needed to be visited or revisited, and so on. And also, this person said that sometimes he has a sudden call from CEO and shall provide some information on sales plan and upcoming deals to be closed. So it's just, you know, some ad hoc analysis, and you are just called and what are going to be our sales next month, and you shall open the dashboard and answer this question. The other roles who is going to using this dashboard is sales managers, and they are using it like for operational purposes. They are using it every day. They just need to understand what's going on with their clients, how what deals are stopped, what deals are delayed, and there they should put their attention and how they can reach the plan, how they can achieve the plan. So also very important part of this step is to allocate a test group, test users for your dashboard. And I suggest if you have, I don't know, up to 7-10 people, just put all of them into test group. If you have a lot of users, select 2 to 3 representatives from each work position, and to create a test group from them, and speak to them, and also show your work to them and find out the feedback. So how this step would influence your design decision during the dashboard design? As I said, we have 2 different roles who are going to use it, and because of that, we are going to structure the dashboard the way the people use it. For example, if they need a helicopter view for head of sales department, we will have it. We will have some KPIs and some general information that provides this information. And as we have a sales manager and some day-to-day operational side of the work, we will design it that way that you could just select a manager, just select yourself, and look thoroughly through all of the information, especially and at the level of each deal. So at the bottom part of the dashboard, we have a table on each deal, and you can find yourself and as a sales manager and understand each deal, how it's structured and with whom it's structured. So We are going to look at the dashboard a bit further, quite precisely and quite thoroughly. But anyway, I wanted to say that this part influences the way you design the dashboard after that. The next part of dashboard canvas is questions decision part. And I believe that if you feel down this part really truly and really good, then it's almost, I don't know, 90 or maybe 95% of your success. What is all about? It's about putting all of the needs of your users and understanding of your goal into simple and precise questions. For example, what is the current situation? It's quite a common question and it should be described somehow. So, well, if you need to describe the current situation, you need to place some KPIs in place. So, how many deals in progress? What is the average time to close a deal? What's the conversation raise? Do we achieve the plan or not? So we can translate it in such precise and simple question. The next question could be, what is the dynamics of the number of deals? The next one is, what is the conversion rate from step to step of our sales funnel? What is it dynamics, and so on. So we shall provide each question and to find out why is it needed for this dashboard. Just because if you have the list of these questions, I will say that you have all the answers you need. You just create for each question, you just create a visual on your dashboard and you answer this question with your visuals and with your graphs. On this is really tricky part, I believe, just because you shall get this information right, and you couldn't get it by your own. You always should ask your internal clients on these questions. And the point is that sometimes they not even know that they ask some questions when they're using a dashboard. So it's a really tricky one. We'll discuss it a bit further. But anyway, as I said, if you have a list of these questions, you just place each visual answering that. For example, what is the general KPI, what is the general situation? We have a block of general KPI metrics. What is the dynamics on number of deals? We have a time series on number of deals. What is the conversion rates from step to step? And what is the dynamics? We have a conversion rate. It's dynamics, and we have a conversion rate from step to step in form of sales funnel, and so on. So the tricky part is to collect these questions, but we will discuss how to do so and how to try to do so. The next part of the dashboard canvas, it's a context of use. It's also quite obvious things to place in this algorithm, just because you need to understand, is it going to be used on a daily basis? Is it going to be used, I don't know, on mobile devices, and so on. The main idea to understand, should it be, I don't know, designed somehow for mobile devices, as I said, or I don't know, for presentation mode, or for some big screens in your meeting room, and so on. And for our case, this dashboard is going to be used on for weekly analysis and also on a daily basis for operational use. And head of sales need a rare access to the dashboard on a mobile phone and on cell phone in order to provide ad hoc information to SEO. So during this process of gathering this information, I really find out that this was not crucial, but really important part for designing this dashboard. On the one hand, we don't need a mobile version just because mostly it is used on laptops. But anyway, sometimes the access from the mobile is needed. And in order to address this problem, I decided to divide dashboard into two parts. In the left part that is needed as ad hoc analysis is designed mobile with mobile first approach. If you imagine, if you open this dashboard on a mobile device, this part, this column is going to be perfectly fit a standard mobile device, and all of this information is located so that it's going to look really nice and pretty on a mobile. And on the other hand, we have a lot of using it on laptop, and it works well as well on a laptop. So if we just use a standard laptop, it's going to be one screen for the general information and the other screen for detailed information on sales. My point is that sometimes you shouldn't create some complex mobile versions for your dashboards. You can't just make a part of it to fit mobile devices. And it's going to be okay if it is a rare using of it. So the idea that this step of dashboard canvas influence and decides the way it was designed in such way. So how do we gather all of this information? And these parts, they are marked yellow, are gathered during the interview process of your internal customer. And as I said, it's on the one hand quite obvious things to do to interview your colleagues. On the other hand, it's as I see, it's really a rare occasion that someone using the interview process, just because sometimes it feels a bit silly to sit down with your colleague. You're working in the same place, I don't know, you're working for a lot of time together, and just to provide a really structured and quite formal interview. But I believe that this approach, the interview, is the only way to get the information you needed. And in order to fill out the parts that we discussed so far, I suggest interview questions, and there are 11 of them. And they were designed such a way that this interview take about, I don't know, 60 minutes to have this interview with your colleague. And they, on the one hand, quite specific ones. On the other hand, they are quite general, and they provide you the information you need in the first step of the dashboard design process. So let's look through them. The first question is just tell me how your unit works. And sometimes as a business analyst, they are a bit self-confident, and they think that they they have understanding how the unit works, but it's a good idea to ask a person anyway, just because sometimes they just don't see some internal stuff, that some I don't know, things that are not placed in documentation and so on. So just ask your colleague to describe the way he or she works and the unit he's working or she's working for works. So the next question is really important. It's about how the colleagues understand that they work well or badly. And if they have some KPIs in place, to ask what are the KPIs, what do they track, and how do they track so. Sometimes it's really hard to get this information just because business people a bit not so patient, and they just said, I'm from sales department, I'm tracking sales, what do you want from me more? And you shall just ask them, and how do you track them? Do you track them on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis? Do you, I don't know, consider year-over-year growth, or you just looking at the absolute numbers and you don't bother yourself with any growth and so on? So, really good idea to get the KPIs they track. The next question is to ask them how to influence these metrics. How do they influence these KPIs? And it really helps you to understand what people need in place in dashboard to them to do so. For example, if a salesperson says that, I don't know, if I see that the sales are decreasing, I'm applying to new conference and try to find some leads at that conference for our company. So, and if you have such an answer, maybe you could provide some information on the nearest conference on the topic your company works for, and so on. So the idea is to get the information people need to change the KPIs, not the KPIs themselves, but also the additional information about how do they change these KPIs and how do you influence them. Also, good idea just to say, to ask what a dashboard do you want, what do you need it for, and how do you solve this problem now. It will give you just general information about the customer expectations. And it's a really good idea. Sometimes business people bring you just a clever and good solution and bring you the almost finished dashboard. But as I said, I really want you to do it. Just don't think about it, or just to get this information, what they don't know, mockup or something like that. Usually it's Excel spreadsheet mockup, something in Excel, and if you just copy it into Tableau and some other BI system, it's not going to work well. So the next questions are about the users and the use of context. And this is questions 5 to 7. You just ask them who is going to use it, how is it going to be used, and what the context of using, and so on. It's just the questions to fill in the parts we discussed. Also a good idea to ask what people do after they look through the dashboard. So I don't know if they, as I said, if they think that the sales decreasing, maybe are they going to CRM system and make some additional calls and so on. So if you provide such link to I don't know, external software and so on, it's a good idea, and good idea to ask about it your customers. Also good idea to ask when do you like to get the result and why then, by the precise time. Just because it's a good idea to have a deadline for the project and to understand why the deadline so. Just because sometimes your customer could say, I need it immediately, I need it tomorrow, but then you ask, why do you need it tomorrow? They hesitate and say, I don't know, something like, no, I need it. It would be good to have it tomorrow, but I really need it, I don't know, in a week. So it's a good idea to ask that, just in order to have good and understandable deadlines. Good idea to ask what data do they have, and the last question, what did I forget to ask you? Just because sometimes you really forget to ask something and people are shy, I don't know, or they not so interested in so, and they not adding anything else on the top. So, but when you ask them, what did you forget? What did I forget to ask you? They can provide some useful information for you. So, these questions was designed by me, I don't know, from practice as a business consultant, as a dashboard designer for the last 6 years, I believe. And I think this set of questions are a really good one. And you can use it if you like it in order to get the information to fill in the first part. For me, it always been a hard work to provide an interview. That's why I was looking for approach how to ease my pain with providing the interview and what hints are there to do so. So it's a bit, I don't know, soft skill part of our work as BI developers. With providing such interview, I have some hints for you. And first of all, in order to just not to stuck on I don't know. Okay, just create a plan for the interview. It's really good idea, and as I said, you can just use this list of questions. They fit quite well. Use a questionnaire format. So if you prepare just, I don't know, a Google document for yourself or a spreadsheet, or just print these questions out, make it before the interview and just fill it in during the interview process. If you have a partner, just conduct the interview in pairs, just because it's really good idea. Our brain structured so that it's really hard for us to make a conversation and to make notes at the same time. And in order to be concentrated on the interview process itself, I suggest to do interviews in pairs. The one person is going to be in charge of questions, and the other person is going to be in charge of writing the information down. And if you don't have such member on your team, you can just ask to record the conversation. And during our COVID days, I believe it's quite easy. Everybody online, and you can just press the rec button. But don't forget to ask the permission from the person you are talking to about it. Try more listen, don't press on the colleagues, just because as a technical guy, sometimes don't. For some, I myself, I have such approach that I sometimes I think that I know some stuff better than business users do, and press them a little bit. And it's a really bad idea to do so, and try not to do so. Try to be as humble as you can, and maybe sometimes even pretend that you don't know something. It's really easy is the process of your interview. So the next hint is try to paraphrase and use indirect approaches. As I said, your job to get these questions, to get the questions users are asking themselves and using dashboard. And sometimes it's really hard to get them. In order to do so, just try to ask differently. For example, what KPIs do you track in order to achieve the plan? And the person says, I track sales. And you say, what do you mean sales? What metrics do you track it in amount of deals and the volume in money and so on? And I don't know. I track it. Oh yeah, in the volume of money, and I compare to against the plan. And I mean that sometimes if you just ask it once, it's going to be a simple answer to you. But if you try to dig deeper and to try to paraphrase something and to like, I don't know, do you track your sales? As I said before, on what basis do you track it? On a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, and so on. So try to find out what persons are using in the real business processes, just because sometimes it's really hard to do so. The next hint would be don't ask too many questions, and then you provide an interview. As I said, it's really a good practice to keep it quite short. I don't know, maybe about 60 minutes and so on. And the next hint would be use Colombo tactics. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this TV show. It's Mr. Colombo, a detective. During this TV series, he was interviewing his suspecting some criminals, and he was doing it really well. And he was doing it really well just because he was humble and pretended that he don't know something, and it really worked well. So use these tactics as well, and you will get a lot of information from your internal customer. And also the good idea to take minutes and write comments afterwards, write down some minutes and send it to your customers and just show them the canvas, filled in canvas, and discuss what do they think about it. So I understand that this part maybe could be a bit theoretical and, as I said, also obvious. But as I said, it's on one hand, it's really obvious. On the other hand, it's really hard to do in the practice. So then you have all of this information. You can start to create your dashboard in technical terms and design terms. If you have all this information, you can go to the part 6. It's on the one hand the easiest one, and on the other hand the hardest one. You just need to get the data you need for the dashboard. You shall describe the data you need, and maybe to place some documentation on it. What is the schema of this database? Is it going to be a wide table, or is it going to be a long table? What fields are used in these tables, and so on. So it's, as I said, it's quite easy part. You just find out what data sources you have for this dashboard. On the other hand, I suggest not to think only the data you have, but also think about what data maybe would be useful for you as well. So not only the data you have in your tables already, but maybe some additional information that would help you. So just place it down. Usually we are using some links to documentation here. It's information mostly for BI developer in order to understand what data he or she could use for the dashboard. Then you have your data in place and you have all the questions. You can design your dashboard. The first good idea is just to divide the questions we have in the block number 4 into some parts. For example, I just divided them into five parts. It's main KPIs, sales managers block, it's channels and products part, and it's a part about how do we achieve the plan in detailed table deals. So I just took these questions and gather them in the common parts. The idea that these parts are going to be a parts of your dashboard, and usually on the layout they are somehow connected. Maybe it's I don't know, in one frame, on one slide, and so on. So we just divide these questions into parts, and then for each questions, we are finding a visual solution. For example, do we need a helicopter view? Okay, it's going to be KPIs with spark lines. Do we need a dynamic of the number of deals? We are going to use bar chart time series and so on. In order to do such translation from questions to visuals, I suggest for you to use a common sense or some chart choosers. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but there are a lot of chart choosers that provide you information about that this chart is going to work well for this goal, this chart aims this goal, and so on. So after our user group, we will have a link to this board, and you can look through the data choosers I suggest. I'm really keen on this one with made on Tableau Public. I believe it's really good one, and I suggest use them as inspiration for you and understanding what charts works best for some particular cases. So let's download. So as I said, the main idea of this part just for each questions to find a chart you need. In this chart chooser, it's divided by the goal of each chart. And for example, if you'd like to track some deviation, you can go to this step about deviation and look what charts suits this goal. So for example, if we would have a question about deviation here, what are the deviation of sales from manager to manager? We could go to this tab and to find out which graphs works best for this aim. So I don't know how to I don't know any particular hints and tricks how to convert questions into visuals, but for me I believe it's common sense mostly, and sometimes it's also just experience of you're doing it every day, I believe, and you can just create understanding what if you're talking about dynamics, it's going to be some time series and so on. The next part, when we have our questions divided into parts and our questions converted into visuals, just to create a mockup. I'm really keen on some hand drawing mockups. I believe that they're really good for rapid prototyping and they're good for discussing with your customers the main ideas. And usually on a dashboard, each block is going to convert in each block here, and each question is going to be converted into some visual. I just want to show you some examples of mockups I created, and the point is that they shouldn't be really shiny, really glossy, and well built. I really think that for the discussion with your customers, you just can use the hand-drawn mockups. And it's also a good idea. For example, I'm using a graphical tablet, and some stuff I'm just drawing, and some stuff I'm typing down, just because it's it's more readable than my hand drawings. But anyway, sometimes just even such quite ugly mockups works and suits the goal to discuss and to understand how the blocks are going to be placed. So then you have your mockup. You are good to create your dashboard in Tableau or whatever you're using as a BI system. And on the one hand, it's quite straightforward part of the process. On the other hand, sometimes you have some you shall redesign your dashboard somehow. Maybe you stuck upon a technical issue, or I don't know, some data is corrupted and so on. So usually during the implementation process, you have some backward steps you're going to backward and to refine and to, I don't know, maybe ask something else on your customer so on. And it's okay. I believe it's an agile process, and it's really okay to rebuild something during this process. When you have created your dashboard, you shall provide testing and support. And I believe that these steps should be also done in an agile way. For example, then I create a dashboard. After the dashboard was created, I provide some quick surveys in chat. I don't know, in some Slack or something like that. You just can, I don't know, in a Google Forms, you can create it. It's a good idea to ask your customers after they used your dashboard some specific questions, and you're going to have some answers for them, and it could influence your design decisions, and it could to provide you feedback how it worked or didn't work. So also using, I suggest to use some really cheap techniques. I don't know, just stand behind your colleagues and look how they use the dashboard, and try to understand, did the dashboard meet their needs and expectations or it's not. It's a really good idea to create a success metric for your dashboard, for your project. For example, for this project, the success metric was so that sales managers use the dashboard on a daily basis, and the average score of surveys, how they do satisfied with the dashboard, is not less than 4.7 out of 5. If this success metric is achieved, then the dashboard seems to be cool, and so seems to be meeting the goal. So on this stage, it's really important just to place down what, how are you going to test this dashboard, and how do you going to be sure that it works well. For example, also at this part, we have a checklist before the launch. I wouldn't go fully through that, but it also was created by our team in order to be sure that during the launch process, we haven't forgot anything, and we just mark every step, every list, every point, we mark it, and okay, it's good to go. And we publish, after that, we publish the dashboard on our server. And also we provide some documentation, and also some emailing and news in an intranet. We provide it in order to our colleagues find out that there is a new dashboard. So I believe that's it about theoretical part. And now we are going to dive into Tableau, and I'll discuss the dashboard itself more thoroughly, and we'll look to some technical stuff. Oops. I believe the connection was lost. It's not. Okay. So anyway, after our Tableau group, you're going to have a link here, and you're going to have a PowerPoint template you can download from here. And if you like the approach, you can just try to use it on your own and decide whether it suits you or not. So the PowerPoint template is going to be available. So let's move to the Tableau. I hope you're not too tired from my talking, and you are still with me, just because it's a bit weird, to be honest, to provide such presentation online and don't have any real feedback. Okay, anyway, so let's look to the dashboard and to discuss it. As I said, as we have our questions divided into some groups, in Tableau we also have some blocks that are allocated to each part of these blocks. And as I said, if you have these questions and if you have divided them into the blocks, it's really easy for you to design the dashboard. You just understand that you need a block about main KPI, you need a block about how do managers perform, you need a block what if calculator about how do we reach the plan, you need a block about channels and products, and you need a block on details of your deals. Also, I'd like to mention that this dashboard seems to be quite complex. And as I said, as we found out that it's going to be used by 3 to 4 people and it's going to be used on a daily basis, I'm not afraid to do such complex dashboards. Just because if it would be used, I don't know, by 1,000 people and they wouldn't be professional in sales, I wouldn't do such complex dashboard. It would be, I don't know, maybe 4 to 5 graphs and so on, and that's it. But they are creating, in this case, we are creating a really analytical tool for a really small number of people who are going to use it on a daily basis. And I think that it make possible to us to create maybe some complex, but anyway, complex but very useful and powerful tool for them. So let's go through the each block and discuss what is inside. As I said, the first block is about main KPIs, and it's dedicated to the helicopter view of our sales department. The most needed information is located up front at the very beginning. So the most needed information is about how much possible profit do we have in our sales funnel. So, and it says that we have, I don't know, 161 million bucks in process of sale. And also this KPI indicator is has a little, I don't know, maybe sparkline or bar chart sparkline. I mean, it's additional information about how this money is allocated among the steps of sales funnel. Then understand what possible amount of money do we have and how it is allocated. We'd like to find out how many deals was closed and what is the percentage of plan we have achieved. And also distribution of plan, of percent of plan among the managers. So it's really give you an understanding how money have we earned, what is in terms of plan, and how it is allocated between managers. And also we have some color coding about are they achieving the plan, or are they not? The other 3 KPI indicators, they are not so important. That's why we allocated in the 3rd row. But nevertheless, they give the general understanding about our conversion rates and what's the average time to close our deals and so on. So after that, we have dynamics on number of deals and dynamic on conversions. I used doubled color coding. So I mean, the information about conversion is coded by the position on the Y, on the Y axis, and it's also color coded with color, just because we have some thresholds on conversion rates. What conversion rates we do think are good and what are not so good. And also, in order to understand our dynamics, I added a reference line, thread line, that shows that in general, our conversion rates are growing, and it's a good sign. The last part of this first block is about clients portfolio. And we just put each of our clients into the matrix, how many deals do we have, and what the average check of the deal. Let's go through some, I don't know, maybe technical stuff here. What good ideas you could acquire from this dashboard? First of all, I don't know, if you have a KPI indicator, it's a good idea to create it, and it's just a text mark that are structured like something like so. And I suggest not to use a title built in Tableau, but to write down the title inside the label, just because it's going to be located near the KPI itself, near the number, and it's going to work better. It looks better in terms of graphical design. Also, if you have a monetary something in money, and for example something in deals, it's a good idea just to write it, also to put it here, for example, like, but using a gray color in order to separate it in two layers. So this layer is the important one, and this is additional information. It's using more calm color in order to show to your users that it's not so important, but anyway, it's information they could be needed. The next thing that I'd like to discuss here is about a flexible layout of your dashboard. And it's a really good idea to use, if you're dealing with responsive design, it's a really good idea to have one part of your dashboard to be fixed to some particular width in pixels, and the other to be flexible and not to be fixed in width. If you're using so, and if you're using a tiled layout, if you need to, if you have different screens, or if you just need to resize your dashboard, you're not going to have any problems. And as you can see, this part of the dashboard is fixed, and it's, as I said before, it's going to look nice on a mobile device. And this flexible part is going to be changing its size, but nevertheless, it's going to looks well on the different size of monitors. And I suggest never using after automatic layout, just because usually it's crunch your dashboards in some strange way, and try to find out the general resolution you have in your company. For example, in our company we have downloaded all the data from our IT department and found out the most common screen size for our users, and using the most appropriate one for the most appropriate range that suits well our laptops that are used in our company. So the idea that I was talking about is that then we're using some kind of flexible layout or want to use a range size. It's a good idea to have one part of the dashboard to be fixed and the other part of the dashboard to be flexible. The next part and the next life hack, I'd like to show you how to deal with the bar width on the bar chart time series. Just because if you have a parameter that controls the granularity of your date, in a general in a default position, if you don't apply any specific things, you're going to have quite narrow bars, and even if you use manual these, they never going to be quite approximate to each other. So in order to address this point, I just create a special calculation field that just returns you a number on the depends on the granularity you are using. For example, if it's week, then it's going to be 6, it's months, it's 25, and so on. And I place it into the size of the bar size, and using so, I'm going to have a quite good this for bar size for bar chart. Then I switch the scale. It's some kind of life hack, I believe, and it looks really better than if it wouldn't be used. For example, if I wouldn't use it, it would look like that, and it would look really strange from my point of view. So let's get back. I believe we have, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 minutes to go. And the most interesting part of this dashboard, I would say also, let's discuss this part. This is the part about our managers, how do they perform? And the question in our dashboard canvas was how to compare different managers. And then you meet such goal to compare some managers, I don't know, some dimension on different measures. I suggest to use just a standard table, but to add some bar charts, for example, in order to make them looks more understandable and more visual. So it's just a general table, but it's divided into different parts. It's also some kind of a life hack. You can just duplicate the different parts, and just to hide the header. And if you combine that on a dashboard, you are going to get the table that seems to be one piece, but it's not one piece. It's 4 pieces or 3 pieces of tables, and it's done in order to be able to show not only the factual value, but also the plan. So these ticks are the plan, and the bar is the factual data, and we can see how do we achieve the plan or we don't. So as I said, then you have a lot of dimensions. Good idea to use a table. It's okay. Don't try to use, I don't know, a lot of scatter plots or some other dimensional things. A table works, I think, the best for such goal. In this dashboard, everything also is clickable. It's also a lot of action filters are placed in here. And for example, if I would be a sales manager, I could pick myself. And these charts is really works cool for the goal to understand which deals are stacked in the sales process. And I like this chart is because it's not very common. It's some kind of a bubble chart, I don't know. And I really love Tableau just because I can create such a chart in Tableau just using a standard tool. And this chart shows for each step of a sales funnel, it shows the amount of time the deal spent on this step. So each dot is a deal. And also the ticks are showing what is the average time for the deals. And the size of the deal is showing the amount of money inside the deal. So, and at a glance, you can see that there are some deals that been stacked, especially this one. This is a big one, and it's stacked on the first step of the sales funnel, and we shall do something about it. And also there is a deal that could be closed soon, but it's also stacked, and we should put our attention to that stuff. Also, I believe it's some kind of life hack. If you didn't use it, you should try to do so. I was using just the common characters. It's called UTF symbols. For example, you can use arrows, or you can use just 3 circles with different sides and replace the size legend with it. Just because a common, a standard a legend for size, it's quite bulky. It's a big one, and unfortunately, it could not. To be honest, I don't like the size legend in Tableau just because you couldn't achieve the result you want, and it works not so well. And usually, from my point of view, the size of the dot, it's not a precise X, it's not precise scale. So you just need to give the general understanding for your users that it's somehow correlated to the deal side, but it doesn't matter whatever it is, $10 million and this one is $1 million. You just need to give understanding that they are different, and the bigger is the deal. So that's also life hack. Try to use these symbols. It's just a text element. It's really useful. And also quite a life hack if you need to create a label for your axis. You can use, I don't know, for example, no, I used the reference line here, and it's just a reference line that takes 85% of the maximum, and it's just labeled with a custom text, and it works really cool like a axis sign, axis label. What's the next? I'll like to show you the 2 last life hacks on this dashboard, I believe, and we will go to the Q&A question session. I really keen on what if calculators and some interactivity with dashboards when you can, I don't know, put some information, put some parameters, you can change it and to see how it reflects, how to change the data. For example, here we have what if calculator on the sales funnel. And if you don't achieve the plan, you just can find out what should you do in order to achieve the plan. For example, we can add some leads at the funnel start. If we find extra 10 clients, we are going almost reach the plan. And as you can see, it's created such way that we have a background profile for projected situation. It's created quite simple way. In technical terms, it's just a dual axis, and we have the primary axis representing the actual data, and we have the secondary axis that represent the projected data, the forecast, and it's just located so that the secondary axis moved backwards and creates such a shadow behind the actual data. I really like this approach just because it could it make really visual what is going to change on your sales funnel when you change some parameters. I don't know. Also, you can increase conversation from step to step, conversion rate from step to step, and you can increase the average check and to see how it affects your plan. And if you do so, you reach the plan 100%. And it's a really cool instrument. And by the way, it works for individual managers. And if you select a manager, it's also going to work, and you will see as a manager, for example, that, I don't know, you don't need to improve your conversion rates, but it would be nice to have 5 more clients at the beginning of your sales funnel, and you're going to achieve the plan. So if you could do such what if calculators, I really suggest so. And as I said, this block was created because during the dashboard canvas process, it was found out that we need such calculator and to understand how it works. The last life hack I'd like to share with you is about using actions filter as a quick filters. Usually, if you're using action filter, you will never get the standard filter at your dashboard. But sometimes it's really useful, cool idea to do so. Let me show you. Okay, why doesn't it work right now? Just a sec. Funny. I was expecting the channel filter also changing to advertising, just because it is an action filter, not a quick one. Just a sec, let me open the public version. And to be honest, I don't know why it doesn't work. Maybe. Just a sec. If I could not fix it in a minute, we will pass on. Okay, the Tableau decided to betray me and not to work in the manner I would expect. Doesn't matter. The life hack itself was on using, when you create an action filter, you have new pills on the filter panel, it's actions, and you also could get these filters on your dashboard as well. For example, I'll get this one. I'll just place it randomly in order to show how it works. And the point is that this is a common standard filter that are quite familiar to users, and they just can use it. But if they use an action filter, it also reflects. Why doesn't it reflect here? Oh my gosh. Okay, the point is then it should be so that you clicking here, it's also coming advertising here and so on. Okay, it doesn't matter. So I believe that's it. Let me make some conclusion. I understand that the stuff I was talking today could seem a bit overwhelming or maybe too overcomplicated, but I really believe that it helps to create good dashboards. And from my practice, from practice of my colleagues, we are using it for about, I don't know, half a year in our company. We have really good results, and it's also really cool way to share the knowledge of the dashboards. Just because we have, I don't know, about 30 to 40 filled in such forms, and it started to be just a common way to describe the dashboard and to share the knowledge about the dashboard among colleagues. So if any of our colleagues is opening such a dashboard canvas, he or she understands all parts of it and could understand even how to use the dashboard and why it was created and so on. So I eager to answer questions just because I was talking for an hour and so, and it seemed to me that I'm alone here a bit.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So what we have, and you probably can find this Q&A section, the bottom. So it has 2 unanswered questions that you might cover. Did you find this?
Yeah, sure. Who role to maintain the dashboard canvas? Developer, project manager, and so on. I believe it's on the side of a project manager, but in our company, these roles are usually are in the same person. So BI developer usually runs the project themselves. But if in your company these roles are separated, I would suggest to be the owner of this dashboard canvas to be a product manager or the project manager. So, and the next question was about, are there any other software programs you commonly use with or in addition to Tableau? I'm not sure about what's the context of the question, just because I use a lot of software, and for example, the Miro one is here, and also OneNote for rapid prototyping and so on. But in terms of creation, in terms of, I don't know, preparing data and so on, I'm only using Tableau Prep as well, but not so often. And I'm not really familiar with other BI systems and the ETL instruments. ETL tools, sorry. Yeah. I believe that's it.
Good. So you answered a couple of questions we have. There were other questions that we answered with JC. So yes, all good. I think. JC, do you want to add anything?
No. Just want to thank everyone for taking time and being here. Again, I'll be happy to post my contact info on the landing page for the user groups. So if any questions do come up, you can have that handy.
Yes, we will publish this record and we will share with the rest of the group. So I think, Roman, you can also share the presentation, right? Slides itself.
Yeah, I'll share the link. It will be interactive link for this board. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds great. Yeah. Okay, then thank you very much, everyone who joined us, and have a good rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Roman.
Thank you for having me today. Yeah, I hope it was useful.
Yeah. A short trip to Vancouver. Bye.
Okay. Yep. Fine. Thanks.